feel strongly that this is something we're building too. Things like the 3-Eye Atlas, it's no accident that it's happening right now on the precipice of our ascension, of major changes, that we're receiving codes from it, receiving codes from the sun, that we're being protected by the galactic community, who is more and more coming in and revealing themselves, more UFOs, more sightings, more people, going from things like plumbers and real estate agents to suddenly going, oh my God, I do light language, I channel. Oh my God, I know this is the truth. I mean, that's part of my story, because 7-8 years ago, I thought all of this was bunk. And I had a huge awakening around the ETs. And so I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for this conversation. And I think everything we're doing and you're doing, these platforms, Neil, it is helping all of us to elevate, to bring our frequency up, so we are prepared for this inevitability of us joining the galactic community.
Yeah, exactly. And as I shared like earlier, and I always share, with this kind of thing that we're doing is we're infusing the timeline with this consciousness. You know, I even did a multiple day event. I think it was like a 10-day event once, and they literally just called it infusing the timeline. Because this is what we're doing with awareness. The more that we expand onto it, the more we talk about it, the more we interact and we connect to it, we regain our memories, and we assist in the process of everybody collectively gaining their memories. And so it's just beautiful that we get to do this, and I get to do this full time, and just be at the precipice of greatness for the new world. So it's really exciting.
It is exciting. It's amazing. I sometimes wonder, what did our souls say when we all stood in line? And the source soul that was saying, it's going to be a really wild time. It's not going to look good, but it's actually going to be good stuff happening. You're going to have to have pretty big shoulders. You're going to have to really bring your light and be a light worker and a star seed. You're going to have to remember who you are, despite all this fading out of real memory. And you're going to have to fight the illusion of what's out there and know the truth in here of who you are, why you came, and the light you came to bring. And I sometimes wonder, what was that like for us to go, yeah, that sounds great. Put me in, coach. Yep. And out of the gabillion souls, we were chosen. So there's a reason we're here, all of us. And there's a reason we came to carry our brand of the light. And it is a really auspicious time right now. We are building the new earth. We are building the new humanity. I'm here for it.
Me too. I like the phrase, well, not only did we elect, not only did we elect, we also were selected. It's like there's a group of people who wanted to come, but then there was those that came. You know what I mean? So, and that's what we're here for. And we have a comment in the chat. Got to mention this. Debbie, you look so feline.
Thank you, Gur. I hear that a lot. And yes, well, you're right. I mean, thank you. Because let's do that with each other today and recognize each other's galactic DNA and lineage. That's really what it's about. I mean, clearly I have very, very star Lyran in me, and I own that. I love that. I work with the lion beings a lot. They're so loving and protective and guiding of me. And the Elohim are probably my other really dominant, although I've had many galactic lifetimes, as have all of you. So it will be interesting as we talk today to start to explore that and see, like you probably see in Neil, some of the Orion, and you might see some of the Dragon, and somebody else, you might see the Pleiades, Antarian, Praying Mantis, all of the beautiful places and spaces our souls have inhabited, the avians. So feel free to call that out, or who you know yourself to be galactically.
Good one. Let's have everybody who feels a connection to a star race go ahead and represent it in the chat. Let us know what your connections are. And always got to put the disclaimer, we are all that is. We've been everything. But there's specific. I love what Dolores Cannon said, because it's a paradox, like everything, that I always thought I was Arcturian when I first came about. Now Arcturian, Dragon, and Orion are my biggest ones. And chances are I could have lived many more lives in Pleiades than Arcturus. But why do I have those connections? And Dolores Cannon had said that there's specific themes that we inherit from certain places that we play out on Earth. So you might have actually lived more times in the Pleiades, or you might have had 100 other lives, but you're only talking about 3, is because those themes or those gifts and talents that you receive from that incarnation is what you're bringing down to this reality now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And although I can identify the pinpoints, the reference points of where I've been, I just want to add to what you said, riff on that, because I did a hypnosis session with somebody like 2 months ago. And I was really surprised when the dragon showed up. I love dragons. In fact, where I'm sitting right now, I'm surrounded. I have a huge white onyx head dragon that I work with. I have a dragon egg. I have a dragon sitting on my computer. So I love, love, love dragons, but I always assumed that I had a dragon in a lifetime that was like my friend and protector. And here I am in a hypnosis session and I wake up and I am a dragon, and a huge, massive dragon. And it was incredible in this hypnosis session to explore that, to see what it's like to try to land on Earth, having all this girth. There was so much weight to who I was. And the propensity, actually, I much preferred to be way up in the sky or on a mountaintop. The water was great because it was big. So I needed big open spaces, but I also loved being alone. And that's not necessarily true in this life. I'm very independent, but I love, love, love people and collaborating and all that. But in this life, I was very independent. And so to experience that aspect, right, a contrary aspect of myself, that was magnificent and really surprising.
When was this session, the dragon?
This was 2 months ago.
Because you're emceeing the dragon conference with us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's going to be very interesting to see what unfolds for you as you're receiving all these other downloads. Wow, it makes sense. You got that dragon connection.
Perfect timing.
So should we get into the panelists?
Yeah.
Bring them on. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to bring everybody on. I'll say the names as they come on, and then Debbie, you can start off with the introduction. So today we have Shelly Reef. Oh, eating an apple. Why did I choose you first?
It's too fast to see. You'll have to guess.
That was way fast. We have Chris Noble in the house, Sasha Starseed, Geraldine Orozco, and Joan of Angels. Welcome, everybody.
Beautiful.
All right, so let's do some
Who do you
intros.
want to start with?
Go ahead, Debbie. You choose.
Well, I'll choose Geraldine because, I've worked with her before. Hi, how are you? And I'm so excited you're here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Neil and Debbie. It's an honor to be here as always, and for everybody that's here.
Yeah. To have you as part of this as well, because I have a sense of where the conversation's going to go. So it really excites me, the pieces that you bring, Geraldine, as a professional, as a personal. So Geraldine is a massive experiencer. I feel like we need to find a new word for this because I don't always like the word abductee, and you might have one that you can share with us. But to be succinct, she certainly has been abducted. She's had, I believe it's 17 hybrid children out there, a high level of engagement. And because of her experiences, you can imagine going through that and the confusion and what that might bring up, the triggers. But it's the brilliance, I think, of what's offered to us as humans. This could become a mess for us, or we could take it on as a journey. And that's certainly what Geraldine did. It became her journey. And in trying to find out about herself and her experiences, oops, we should mute Joan. Thanks. Then Geraldine took this into profession. And it's so gorgeous because on so many levels, she helps people to navigate this space. People who feel they've been abducted, people who have experiences here. And she has so many beautiful healing modalities, so many offerings. And I will just finally say she's interviewed a lot. She's been on some huge outlets, and it makes my heart really happy that the mainstream, slow as they have been, are starting to recognize people like her and the truth she brings.
Thank you so much, Debbie. That's so beautiful. What a beautiful introduction. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah.
It's great to have you, Geraldine. And then let's move over to Chris Noble, one of my really good friends. We just lived down here in Colombia together for 3 months. It's like, it's like he's the type of person that you think, where do you even begin? Because he's such a multifaceted individual. But then the origin story of our friendship was about 3.5 years ago in Playa del Carmen, when somebody invited him over because he knew how to synthesize and create music. And within 4 or 5 days of knowing each other, we performed a hip hop concert together. And the first day he was there, we were freestyle rapping, and he was playing music, and we were just figuring out how we were going to do the show. We had a great connection of ancient history, and then he started realizing that a lot of the people that he's into and researches even went to Egypt with Robert Schoch, that of course we have on Portal to Ascension. So our friendship continued to grow, but not until maybe, it feels like we've been traveling together for like 20 years, really, but not until about 2 years ago did we start doing events. And he was a videographer and live streamer for a lot of Portal to Ascension productions. But Chris is beyond the ancient history, has the podcast called Ancient Mysteries Unearthed, a researcher. He's taken a group of people to Egypt in September this coming year. I'll be there as well. Portal to Ascension will be representing. But Chris is an epic musician, composer. Chris is literally music. And when he plays the piano and the guitar, it's just like you shift into a whole other dimension. So beyond being into ancient history, the star beings, and being a curator of awareness with all the people he spoke with, he puts his codes in his music. And I'm really fortunate to say that him and I just finished a 10-track album together here in Colombia, which we'll be releasing in January. That will be the anthem for 2026, I feel. So thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you so much, my brother, and everyone else, Debbie, and the whole crew here. It's really an honor to be a part of this talk today. So thank you for having me. And I'll just quickly say that I think, music might be one of the universal languages of this whole universe. And so the ETs, we'll all be jamming out soon. I'm very excited for this.
Go ahead, Debbie.
All right, Joan of Angels. Well, I think that says a lot. Joan works with the energy of angels. She helps you find your soul mission. She was originally trained as a chiropractor and had a very thriving practice in Berkeley. And today she's an oracle of ancient wisdom, a spiritual advisor, and an amazing visionary artist. Joan of Angels, welcome to the
I am
panel.
so happy to be here, Debbie. And to be on a panel with you is exciting. And we have
Yes.
so much to talk about our mission and understanding what we're doing here on the planet and bringing it all together. I think connecting our 3D and 5D selves to really merge to the higher dimension. So thank you.
Pleasure.
And we have Shelley Reef. And Shelley and we connected about 3 years ago now, 3 to 4 years ago at the San Diego conference, Portal to Ascension San Diego, that has now been liquidated because it has merged into the New Living Expo for like a bigger production. But Alan Seinfeld said, hey, I have this amazing person standing right by me at this expo. Can you speak to her and have her at your event? I spoke to Shelley and immediately said, yes, let's bring you on. Because at that point, I just knew she was a sound practitioner. But when she came to the event, her addition and contribution, her frequency, soul, and her general vibe was just so powerful and potent. So much beauty emanated from her. The most memorable moments were when Shelley was playing the harp, and we just spoke about this right beforehand, how she was playing the harp on people's bodies. And harp, honestly, harp and the gong are my two favorite instruments. And just the harp is just that reminds you of the angelic realm, It's like when you listen to that sound, you're like, oh, everything's okay in the universe, And that's like, not only did the harp, when you're playing that, bring that sound, but you bring that sound, you bring that frequency. You're like a walking, talking harp. I mean that in a beautiful way. And so Shelley Reef is a master sound healer with students in over 20 countries. She's a third-generation extraterrestrial experiencer and has taught telepathy and light body integration for over 15 years. And she's doing a lot of that right now, teaching telepathy. She has over 30,000 hours of meditation logged in her lifetime. Shelley wields gifted insights in the realms of interdimensional intelligence, timelines, and benevolent off-planet contact. So it's so good to have you here, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Neil. It's a pleasure to be here. And the last time I saw you was in a cave outside of Sedona. Yeah,
So,
it's
so
great to be here, and I can't wait to dive into the conversation. Oh, and I just wanted to reflect, Chris said the magic words, universal language, sound as the universal language, and so much has unfolded this year as exactly that, interweaving through the Bledsoe family and kind of common experiences that we're having with sound. So it's a great time to have these conversations. Thanks, Neil.
Exactly. I'm really actually happy that we have two people that are huge sound practitioners here, because we're all frequency. We are sound walking in physical form. We're frequency lower density that we became solid, basically, So there's going to be a great component to add. So I'll introduce Sasha, since I know Sasha. So Sasha Starseed, I love these panels for today, because it was like 25% planned and the other 75% happened like 5 minutes before we started. And I called Sasha 10 minutes before. I'm like, do you want to jump on? Are you free in 10 minutes to jump on StreamYard? She's like, why? And so Sasha has become a good friend. We met in Sedona only in March. Oh my God. But we have already stayed together in Peru, and we have built such a huge friendship where we confide in each other and assist each other, not only as friends, but also business-wise when it comes to the consciousness that we're both here to do. And Sasha, of course, we have 3 sound practitioners here today.
No,
And this is insane. This is insane how this is happening right now, because I have never heard a sound practitioner on the level of Sasha Starseed, because of her tone and her vocalization with sound and her light language. The first time I saw her, it was like a divine revelation when she was performing. So yes, she plays sound bowls and she plays other tools, but she's more than that. She's an alchemist with it, and her voice and her light language that goes in it is on the level of some professional singing music. So that is one thing that she does. She also is coming out with an album very soon. She's in the process of finalizing her first album, which is going to be incredible, and I know it's going to really do very well in the world. But she also has been leading plant medicine ceremonies in Peru and probably other places as well, for women ceremonies to help women heal and release trauma and come into their own divine essence. And that's what she has been doing. And I'm fortunate enough to have met her in a time where she's evolving that work into a whole other aspect of who she is. So Sasha, thank you for being you, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. And wow, what a beautiful couple months it's been. It feels like lifetimes since we've known each other. And I feel like Sedona sounds like a big portal for a lot of us here. And I just came from Sedona, and it feels like also there's a rebirthing happening. So I'm grateful to be here on this panel right now. And one thing I want to share, thank you for your reflections about my voice and sound healing. That was my greatest fear ever, was using my voice and singing. It's the only B I ever got was in music. So I was afraid to use my voice. And so I believe that me sharing this album and me being authentic about that gives other people permission that our voices are medicine. Sound is a prayer. And when we can get out of our head and into our hearts, we are all sound alchemists. We are all singers, and coming back to that because it's important.
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much, Sasha. And Debbie, take it away. But I do feel we're going to have some sound conversations here in relation to the galactic world.
Beautiful, because guess what I do? I sing, and I just performed at a gig last night. I'm in the band called Lions of Lyra. And so you're singing my song. I completely get it. And I think that telepathy, there's many things coming down the pike that are going to be the new modalities of communication, and definitely music is one of them. And I'm very well aware that a lot of extraterrestrial civilizations and species use music, use frequency for healing, for influencing, and definitely for communicating and up-leveling. Their music is really different than ours. So thank you to everybody who shared so beautifully. I'm psyched you're here. Today's panel is going to explore the themes that are at the heart of the upcoming April 2026 New Living Expo, which is Starseed origins, multidimensional identity, humanity's emergence into a galactic community, exploration of ET lineages, hybrid programs, contact experiences. This is so deep. And what it truly means to integrate into a vast and diverse galactic family. So everybody here, we're going to offer grounded guidance and our own personal experience about stepping into your multidimensional identity and embracing your role in today and going forward, Earth's ascension. Every single one of you brings a really unique lens on these subjects. So let's dive into these mysteries for our audience. I'm going to start with I like to jump in. So I think a lot of people sense that they carry ET lineages or hybrid genetics. We mentioned this at the beginning of this video, but a lot of people don't always know how to translate that knowing into their daily life. So from your perspective, what does it actually look like to integrate those galactic lineages into a human incarnation? And Geraldine, let's start with you. How do you do it? And how do you recommend, because you work with people, that they do that, integrating galactic lineages into this human incarnation?
Yeah, so in the beginning, Neil was talking about how these are archetypes and, contact and different species hold different kinds of frequencies and energies. And so I would love to invite you to think of your starseed lineages as, you can say, sound notes that are being played from your DNA. Your DNA that produces the human form is a certain vibrational frequency. It's a certain range of harmonics. And what you're doing as you peel the layers of the matrix conditioning is that you expand that vibrational frequency. You expand your visible spectrum of light. And at the same time, you're expanding your DNA, which allows you to exchange and interact with these higher octave vibrational frequencies. And so the integration process is really one of an internal alchemical activation. It's you can say an expansion of your vibrational frequency, which essentially what that means in the biology and the spiritual biology of the body is you're strengthening your bioelectrical conductivity. Okay, so the more conductive you become bioelectrically, you recover more memory of everything that you've been. And the memory of everything you've been has been all the experiences in your life. It extends out in your past lives, which are all simultaneous. And then you enter into that next octave of interdimensionality, right? So you're accessing from the 7th infinitely up to 24th dimension. You have that capacity. But the majority of people are moving between, average person is between up to 4th, 5th dimension. And what's happening now is that we're having a lot of robust availability to access higher octave information from the 7th up. So right now we have our DNA activating up to 24, which allows us to recover the memory of all that we are. And so the integration would be to accept that aspect of your memory, because that's usually the hardest part. When you have these experiences, there's a disassociation, there's a fear, there's an idea about abduction, which is actually not a term I ever use in my lingo. Rather, it's interdimensional aspects of yourself that you are recovering and remembering. And so the invitation is that as you engage with these aspects of yourself, that you see yourself as them. And that's where we're moving into unity consciousness with yourself. So you think unity consciousness is an external process. It's actually an internal process. You're becoming aware and accepting all facets of yourself, your Lyran self, your Arcturian self, your Pleiadian self, and all the lessons that those come with, because those are archetypal, self-organized frequencies that are emerging from your DNA, essentially.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that's a lot to think about, bioelectrical self, and remembering that it's an inside job, not necessarily something we're waiting for on the outside. And I really love that you reframe this idea and that you don't even use the A word, but that you understand it's actually a reintegration, a remembrance of who we really are on a multidimensional scale. And Chris, what about you? Where do you see carrying ET lineages and hybrid genetics and connecting them, weaving them, healing them into this human incarnation?
Yeah, it's a great question, Debbie. And, Geraldine, that's a fascinating outlook. I didn't really think about, us in that way. So I really appreciate your perspective there. And I think for us, what I like to try to do is bring it down to earth, literally and metaphorically, which is, these concepts are incredible. And this is the stuff that gets my brain and my mind and my imagination so excited. And of course, I think that's part of the memory kicking in. Why are we so obsessed, or at least some of us, why are we so obsessed with science fiction films, alien movies, media that talks about these topics? Well, I think it's because it's touching on a memory that we all, shared to different degrees, especially with our DNA and the memory within that, as well as our consciousness. So while all this information about hybrids and about disclosure and all this stuff, and of course coming into our galactic lineage is fascinating, I also go, well, and how does that what does that mean for me on a day-to-day level? And for me, one of the things that's really I've come back to is to, as much fun as it is to think of these things, I also don't want to overthink it. I want to get into the nitty-gritty of every day. I want to be present. I want to have fun. I want to laugh. I want to be playful. I want to really be human and also experience this galactic reality around us. So for me, I found myself in the last couple of months spending some really great time with our host, Mr. Neil from Portal to Ascension here, and we're just laughing, playing music, kind of doing the basic human things again that I think we can get on this journey so focused on the grandioseness of it all, which it is, and it's amazing. But don't forget to be human, and don't forget to be playful and have a sense of play and almost silliness to this whole situation, and be able to laugh, at all these crazy revelations that are happening, because I think humor is going to be a really important technique to take through all this. And from what I've heard from a lot of the insiders and whistleblowers that I follow with their ET contact situations, the ETs love our humor, and we have a great sense of humor as humans. And that's something that I want to put more of my time and energy into as we come into this galactic awareness. Also, what does that mean to be human? And let's really shine these aspects of being human to our galactic family out there. And I really look forward to when we get to start to intermingle and make friends that are just as unique as the friendships we all share with each other right now as humans. Check out my insectoid friend down the street. He's great. He's a killer bass player too. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait for this. This is going to be great. But my closing thoughts are, I just like to bring it down to earth and just keep things playful, fun, and don't forget to laugh about it all.
Oh, that's so great. I was thinking this morning, one of the first things when I woke up, I was thinking about fun, how much I enjoy having it, how important it is. Everything from creativity, which is huge for me, laughing for sure, fun, adventures, freedom, all the stuff that's coming next year. But I love that energy. So thank you. Thank you for also sharing your purpose and what you bring. And Sasha, what about you? What about what you know about carrying ET lineage and hybrid multidimensional genetics? And how do you weave that, or suggest we weave that into this 3D experience?
Yeah. So what comes up is kind of my origin story of how I received my name, Sasha Starseed. And as Neil said, I run plant medicine retreats in Peru. And the first time I sat in ceremony in Peru, it was my golden birthday. I turned 28 on August 28th. And I had just quit my corporate job to be a full-time sound healer. And in ceremony, there was a prostitute from my lineage that came through. And she looked at me and she said, "It's time to heal guilt and shame for all of us." And I went into the bathroom and I looked into the mirror and I said, Sasha, I love you. I forgive you for sleeping with different people, for cheating on your ex, for any mistake you've made. And I was just bawling in the mirror, feeling true unconditional love and compassion for myself. And I felt Kuan Yin. I work a lot with the goddesses, and this is the first time I really felt Kuan Yin. And I'd been really hard on myself for years. And so just this relief of like, oh my gosh, I get to have grace and self-compassion. And I came out of the bathroom and I purged. And then the shaman invited me to sing and play my bowls. And as I was singing, these two blue Pleiadians came over me with the DNA spiral from them into me with musical notes out my throat. And they said, your voice is your most powerful tool. We're working through you. Keep using it. And this is where my name was birthed. And then they guided me when I went to Machu Picchu. They shared with me my role as a star being coming onto the planet to raise the vibration from fear to love. And they guided me to share my album, to create an academy for other people to free their voices. And I believe that through whatever it is, it doesn't need to be plant medicine, but these experiences of deep connection. I love to go hiking and be on the land and just really listen and get quiet. And I receive guidance. When I sing, I channel and I receive guidance. And yoga, meditation, I feel that in order to bring through these codes, we get to be in deep alignment with ourselves. And the stillness is important to be able to then know what our next steps are. And that's actually my album, The Rainbow Bridge. I've gone to sacred sites, starting with Machu Picchu and then Egypt and Chichen Itza, places in Hawaii, Costa Rica, and recorded light language and sounds and songs. And I'm taking you on a journey through the chakras, through the sacred sites to activate your DNA and open your heart and remember who you are. And so, yeah, I think there's this beauty in claiming, remembering, and then taking action on what we're here to do in the world.
Oh my God. Well, as someone who's done a lot of plant medicine, I'm trying to imagine going to a mirror while on medicine and looking at myself in the mirror. That alone feels auspicious, like just almost overwhelming. For anyone who's done it, you can imagine what that might be like, just to try to even focus on yourself or see what you really look like. And I have to say, what a beautiful, profound experience. I never say for anyone to do it. I really believe you have to be called to it. But for me as well, it completely changed the trajectory of my life. But I was seriously called. And that is so lovely. The idea of the Pleiadians dancing and the light codes coming through you and giving you a new mission, especially on the heels of leaving your regular job, and then the ways in which you're disseminating this into the world. Amazing stuff. You know, there's a lot of starseeds who feel like they have incarnated across multiple timelines, but with a unified purpose. So how do you explain the mission that carries us through lifetimes, meaning that there is something, maybe it's communication, maybe it is healing with frequency, maybe it is here to be a leader during difficult times, maybe it is truly to be a healer, but there seems to be themes that carry through galactic lifetime after lifetime. How can people start remembering theirs and getting in touch with it? Joan, I'm going to ask you that question.
Okay. All right. Your questions are just the best, Debbie, just so you know. But how can we align this lifetime and follow this thread? The most beautiful thing is that when we really came down to this planet eons ago, as volunteers, all of us, we had our own agenda. We had a divine soul blueprint that explained what our mission is. It's like, I think of it as a clipboard. And on that clipboard is everything integrated of what our true soul purpose is. And maybe some of us came to be architects. Maybe some of us came to be healers. Some of us actually could have come to grow different structures and bring people to the light in different ways. We all have this mission. And it connects to our galactic origin, because where do you think we came from? You know, as souls coming down, those of us who are volunteers were not earthbound. We came from the stars. And so we bring that unique lineage that we had through this soul memory. But to me, this soul memory that we have starts with awakening, because I think the first step is that we have to remember why we're here and that we actually are higher dimensional beings at the same time. And when that memory, when we open up and we raise our frequency, for instance, Debbie, until I did plant medicine, heck, I didn't know I was an angelic, even though I thought, you know, maybe, but, you know, I didn't know until I did the plant medicine to see the vastness of who we are. And we have a veil that really has been placed there deliberately by other forces to make sure we don't remember. So remembering, I see, as really the first step, Deb, to really integrate all these different lifetimes and what we really have come here to do, because there is that soul blueprint, and it's not just for this lifetime, it's really for every lifetime. So accessing that is the key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is there a way, Shelley, that people can start to look at this life and remember what that might be? What is this unified purpose? What is this theme or reason for being here? And what is my gift? Right? I just want to reflect who was saying that. I think it was Sasha who was talking about stillness, and I had a laugh because my human design, not human design, gene keys. I don't know if you guys have ever done gene keys. Very, very, very profound. It's based on the I Ching. But I was recently deeply following Richard Rudd, the genius creator of the gene keys, Gene for Genetics. And inherently in everybody's chart, and your chart is never like anybody else's, there is a wound, a deep wound you carry through this life. And if you would but face it and work with it and heal it and take measures to work with it face on, you will find it's your superpower. It's your greatest gift. And over and over again in the gene keys, it says for me, stillness. It is so hard for me. I cannot even. I have tons of energy and tons of ideas and creativity, and I love doing things. And it really is very difficult. So I was laughing when Sasha was bringing that up, because boy, I'm working on it, but it's slow. So I imagine that wound, which is actually my gift, which is stillness, how much that would contribute to the reason why I'm here when I finally, I don't know, supersede it, am able to incorporate it. Talk about that, Shelley, what that looks like when we're finally able to integrate this, remember why we're here, and actually give it as a gift to ourselves and the world.
You do ask the best questions. Thank you. This is my favorite topic, because this is about the listeners. This is about the people who are wanting to be there. And the way in is through being more human, being more you, being the purest expression of you as you can, regardless of where you came from in the universe. There's so much technical information out there. And there's so much also like fear-based information out there coming at us. And, these days, to use the word abduction is immediately equated with, negativity and fear and fright. But there's beauty and balance in all things. We grow and learn through everything. And people, I feel, in this last generation, really got into manifestation. Everything was about manifestation. Every retreat and every event has the word manifestation in it because we all want to manifest what we want. And what happened is we got really compounded in visualizing what it is we want. We have to see it so we can get it. And that's true. That is how visualization works. But that's a different part of your mind than the place where you receive the divine knowing and connection or communion with higher source, with your high self, with ET intelligence, light intelligence. It comes through in a different place. And so it is about learning how to navigate your own mind. And I'll tell you right now, it's in the pineal. It's not here in the frontal lobe. We use that when we focus and manifest. That's where we go. Where you want to learn to come into is the pineal and the clue. Because I'm not going to tell you that and then leave without telling you how to do it. The clue is to find the place in your mind where you're not concerned, there's no concern or awareness of time, of your environment, or your physical body. And the second that you start thinking, then you're out of it. It's about softening. It's kind of like imagine yourself just falling back into the center of your mind. And there's wonderful meditations you can do. And I'll just follow that up with this inspiration. We are becoming, as a whole, so much more privy to this place in the mind and the heart. And when you get there, you'll be shown where you are from, what your lineage is, who you truly are. But that's your human birthright. That's not your off-planet birthright. You don't have to be that to know this. First, you have to be a little more human to get there. Meditation, connection with nature. Let me tell you, nature has all the answers. You can watch every video on YouTube with all the technical information, but the second that you go out and take your shoes off and stand barefoot on the earth and connect with the earth, that's when you become an antenna to receive all of this. So, be self-loving. Take the best care of yourself, exercise, eat the best food, drink the best water, meditate every single day, even if you don't know how. Carve that time out. Go for the best sleep that you can. And have that intention of softening, having no agenda, and receiving your information. And I'll just say that when you get there, the depth and the clarity of this is as intense as anything you would ever receive in a plant medicine journey. Plant medicine can very much like open those portals for you. And then you say, wow, I just saw the truth. I just saw behind the veils. Now, how do I remember that and integrate it in my life so that I become a walking, talking expression of that in everything? And then you start to watch your whole life change. That's when you quit your day job.
I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. And everybody is remarking just how soothing and calming your voice and presence is, Shelley. Thank you for the frequency you bring. I really appreciate that. And a nice full answer, I think, with everybody. I want to hearken back to something Chris said earlier, where he's said, I really bring it back to the right now, to the who I am in this incarnation, to being human. And let's talk about that a little bit. So we are in such a beautiful time right now. We are literally leaving a 9-year. Anybody who knows numerology knows that 9 is equated with endings, with completions. And we're also releasing the year of the wooden snake. And what is snake about? Well, snake is rebirth, 100%, because the snake in shamanic terms is the one who makes a little rip on the side of its face with a rock because it knows it's outgrown its skin. And so it wriggles until it leaves behind its skin completely. And then it's rebirthed and goes out to live anew. And that is who we are collectively, globally, individually. Everybody's experienced things, losing, if you can call it that, or relationships ending, jobs ending, financial things changing, homes, all of it. But it's on purpose. And so the year's been about surrendering. It's been about letting go, releasing what doesn't serve us, hopefully mindfully. And what are we stepping in? A 1 year. So 2026 is a 1 year. Beginnings, huge, right? And starting in February, it is going to be the year of the horse officially. That is so powerful. It's about freedom, movement, independence, vitality, perseverance. It's encouraging bold action and adventure and movement forward. So we had to let go in order to have the capacity to bring in that which serves us. Where do you see star seeds? And let's just popcorn this. If you want to share, unmute yourself and let's share. Where do you see the star seeds fitting into Earth's current ascension timeline? How can they use all this beautiful energy that we're leaving behind us and about to move into of new beginnings, movement forward?
I'll touch on that quickly, Debbie. That was a beautiful question as always. And I think, we have a responsibility as starseeds to help guide the way, not in a superiority complex kind of way, just in a sense of responsibility that we have to be that light that guides people through the chaos that's going to be ensuing, in these next couple of years. For sure, it's going to be a wild ride. And we're going to really need to be that positive light to help people through the transition. And that could look any different way for everybody. I mean, I think as long as we continue to fall into our authenticity more and pursue our passions more, those will guide us into how we are designed to serve and to help and to guide others. But I really think that we are, I think a lot of us have, through this first part of our life, let's say, however long that's been, have gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot and maybe been quite misunderstood and maybe have been that black sheep in the family. And now is our time to not, and again, like, I told you so kind of energy, but more just in a sense of lovingly guiding the rest of humanity into this new reality that we're already at least thinking of and talking about in our own panels like this, discussing, because we care and we want to envision a beautiful new world. So it really is up to us to kind of put on our big boy or big girl pants and kind of step into that new version of ourselves that I think we're all kind of feeling right now in this 1 year that we're approaching into. And just like, let's do it. Let's get into this energy and let's all rise and let's create this beautiful new earth. And I think it's going to start with us and all those of you watching as well. I mean, I think we're all gravitating to this together. So I'm excited for it.
Well, that was a great answer, Chris. I think we all have as for me, I feel like those of us who begin waking up have a responsibility to continue the waking up. And it's like every day we have a choice. You go this path or this path. You ask for the highest good or you do what your ego wants you to do. And if you're walking on this path of awakening and you're a leader because you were chosen to awaken and to be that mastery that you can be this lifetime, every time you make the choice that goes on the lesser path, you're lowering your frequency. And it can happen every day. And so part of our challenge, I think, is to really always waking up and asking to be shown the way today. Like it's your will, not mine. And to show me the highest path that I can walk on, because I know that my mission is waking up others and helping them remember. And, I used to teach a lot about miracles. Every time you step in the miraculous, you create an energy wave. And that energy wave attracts and uplifts others around you. So I see all of us here on the panel, and I know many of you out there listening, we are here as leaders because we chose to do that. And that's a huge responsibility, because if you don't, and I remember lifetimes that I didn't, and I ended up on the streets of India as a ragged old lady with a tin can, running after people with my tarot card. Don't you remember? And don't you remember who I am? And it was instant karma, because the moment before that, I had been an amazing Brahmin in India, And my ego got in the way. I didn't listen. I thought I was a hot tamale here. And the next thing I remembered, I was waking up on the streets of Delhi. So I had an instant reincarnation for violating the spiritual law that we come in with. So that's kind of my hit on it.
Beautiful. Share, Joe. I love what you said about waking up every day and asking, show me the way.
Yeah, show me the way, because when I do it my way, I get so screwed up. I sabotage myself. I go backwards. Okay, Debbie, you talk about a 9-year and a 1-year. Well, I was in a 9-year last year from March to again March, and then suddenly the whole planet, when I'm in a 1-year, the whole planet's in a 9-year. So I had an extended opportunity to really let go of my shadow, and they gave me like an 18-month window because of that. Actually a little more, because that's how much it was taking me to clear it up. Okay, but we have that opportunity, and there's another month till that 1 year begins. So I only have a 3-month opportunity for the 1 year because I had so much to clear up. But you did too, everyone.
That's huge.
Yeah, I can piggyback on both of that. I think that we have a responsibility to be a vibrational representative of what the new earth that we all want would look like. And right now we're so divided and pushing against each other and cancel culture and all of that. It's never been more important to embrace absolutely everyone. And I have this theory that all humans, we all want the same thing, including all Americans, regardless of whichever side of the divide or any divide you're on. We want the same thing. We want peace and the ability to live a sovereign lifestyle and be healthy. And we have different ideas of how to get there, but we all want the same thing. And so it's just those ideas, it's the thinkingness that is separating us. And so for us as starseeds to be the representation of the wholeness that embraces all is so important right now. And it's also a really beautiful way to live. And another thing I can say is, as being a starseed, the deeper you go into this, it takes dedication and time to a ridiculous degree. When other people are out, working and earning and supporting their stability on Earth, I'm in meditation. That's where those 30,000 hours of meditation in this lifetime comes from, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But there's a payback from it. And at this point, I've really been just surrendering, letting go. And as my life pares down, it affects income and all of these things. I've been asking for help. And what I'm finding is that the people who aren't starseeds and want to be on the path and want to come with us into a new paradigm are so happy to support and help. So ask for help. It's there. Yeah.
Sasha, I know you have to leave in a few minutes, so I'd love for you to go next. And also, before you head out, if you could share, your feedback as well, like everybody else's. Speak about the Sound Sanctuary and New Living Expo, and maybe you wanted to do a couple of minutes of light language. So I'd love for you just to share that in your closing here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, what's coming through around the 9-year is any sort of projects that we have that we haven't completed yet. This is the time, these last couple of weeks, to wrap things up, to focus and dedicate and see where we might be being distracted, or where shadows are coming up, where we're not maybe fully claiming who we are and our mission. Maybe we're afraid of rejection or abandonment. And I believe that these triggers, that actually is where our power lies. And so really being with our emotions, feeling things, and then reclaiming our power from that. And I channeled that what we could get done in 6 years, in the year of the fire horse next year, maybe we could get done in 6 months. So stripping away any distractions so that we are focused on our mission and doing it with joy and love in our hearts, coming back to our why of what we're creating and letting that be the driving factor. Yeah, and I'm so excited to co-create the Sound Sanctuary at the New Living Expo. My prayer is that this is a space where we can integrate into our bodies all the codes. I'm a Taoist Tantra facilitator, and in my life, I've had challenges disassociating. When I would drink alcohol in the past, I would black out all the time. And now I realize that I was escaping. And, you know, many starseeds, I think, can relate to this in different ways of the journey of coming down and grounding onto Earth. And so I'm excited for this space and this sanctuary to allow everyone to regulate their nervous systems. We're going to have times of silence where we just get to be. You can come lay down, cuddle, and then we'll have practitioners, including myself, doing sound healings. And so this will give you a moment to just drop down into your breath, into your body. We're talking a lot about receiving and softening. So this is a space to do that and to integrate. We're also going to have breath work. So to me, that's a really powerful practice to reconnect with our bodies. And then we're going to have some yoga people outside as well. So come check it out. I'm really excited to bring this magic. And I believe that it's going to support all of us to leave even more integrated from this experience. Okay, I'm going to invite everyone to just close their eyes. Maybe placing a hand on your heart, one on your belly. Let's take 3 deep breaths into your low belly. Shundore la 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 ankoshi li sekarule andukoya raishuturi kalamomo ashutiri la la noya raishuturu lo do sanaraya raishuturu ma bo oshadare la la sukore la raishuturu no kase la yakoshi naruko ayoku shu Soturi la 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 okushi la no sia la okushi la noya Ishuko da mababa ishutere esakatureya raishando apoya inkia la aya ay no yashiki la kuma ni satureya raishotore la asuya raishandore asatrekondo ayashoto yeseguya mokoya sikia la noya e ashondore la asukoya mokoya ishikia noya Ishotoya sonkoya ra ishotoya mapoya yeshontoya sikia ra ishatara ala aya soya yotoya satoya Shatoreya satarakoneya ishataraya. It's your time to shine, to share your gifts, to be who you are. Your authenticity is important. Take off your mask. No need to perform or prove. Your voice matters. Your frequency matters. Your gifts matter. Thank you for choosing to be here at this time. Thank you for shining, for loving yourself. And as you love yourself and you heal yourself, you heal the world. Let's all share an Om together, just sealing this in. Take a clearing breath first. Inhale for Om.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha. Amazing. That was really needed also, like energetically right now. That was perfect. Really perfect. And I
don't
can't
know
wait
if
to see you at New Living Expo
I know.
and everything you're going
Yeah.
to bring. I just want to let folks know who are watching. So everybody here is a part of this magnificent creation in April 2026 called the New Living Expo. There'll probably be at least 3,000 people walking through those doors, and there's vendors and speakers and experiences. And because it's Neil, it's going to be music and very hip, very now, very exciting, beautiful energy. Plus, I always think it's important to remember you get to meet your community. I think a lot of us on this journey want to be with our people. So the conversation is easy. So we don't feel like a black sheep at a job, in our families, with our friends, that we know there's people who understand, who are also woke. And I have 3 last questions for the panel.
Can I jump in and share some things first, Debbie?
Of course.
Or do you want to do the? Oh, did I lose you? I just wanted to say some stuff based on what was said before and just like tie some things together. The whole aspect. So we just did this panel right a couple hours ago, and Alan said at the end, he goes, I felt that we're going to have, he's all, I thought I was going to hear something scientific and something about some messages from the stars, and he goes in the end. So what I really found out from this whole thing is that the message is to be human. Okay, because that's the conversation that kept happening over and over again. So it's just so interesting how it just continues here. And what was shared at the end is the message is to be human and to fully honor your human and tap into that frequency of joy, because when we go out into the rest of the cosmos and when we become to the extraterrestrials, to other worlds that haven't transcended polarity on the level that we're transcending it, we get an opportunity to teach them how to be a full range human, right? Because we are in essence, we have the tools to become the most human than anything in the galaxy, not only because we can have the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, but also because we have this chakra system that connects beyond the 7 that are all different dimensions of awareness, right? 7 chakra, 7 dimensions, 8 chakra, the 8th dimension. Could it be that we are able to tap into 12 dimensions while we still exist in the 3rd dimensional body? And that is something that's happened, something that I realized in my regressions, starting with Geraldine. She was the first one that gave me a regression, is that when we came to Earth, we thought novelty, right? I got to tie it into the premise of the panel. We thought the novelty was, man, we've achieved it all. How can we find out? How can we have something else? I'm bored of all this. And I'm joking, of course, the way I'm explaining it, but basically, so we're like, okay, let's wipe our memories clean. Let's go to Earth, forget everything we've done, and try to figure it out, and then that will be new. And let's see if we can find the light in a world where the cards are stacked against us and the darkness is stacked against us. And the fact that we still have that spark within us and we're remembering right now just goes to show how beautiful the human consciousness is. So we're getting to that level now that we are going to be able to do something beyond what we thought was new. We thought we had to wipe our memories clean. And for hundreds of thousands of years, not millions of years, we went through cycles of time, remembering, forgetting, remembering, forgetting. People said the reptilians did it. People said the archons did it. But we did it. We chose it because we thought that that's what we could do in order to get new experiences for the universe. The boss is God, and God wanted us to clock in hours of experience, so we kept forgetting so we could keep doing it. And then we had a hijacking. And that, what I like to say is that Ferris wheel of circles of time became a roller coaster, and it became way more depth than ever. And we're like, oh my God, we were hijacked. But little did we know, the hijacking allowed us to experience the lowest of lows, only allowing us to now receive the highest of highs. And so even that hijacking was perfectly in alignment. So now getting to the full circle here, So the novelty, we didn't realize that there was another level of novelty. What we're achieving on Earth is being able to be third dimensional beings while tapping into all these dimensions of awareness. If you consider every dimension a hard drive, like one of those Russian things where you put one thing into one thing, right? And say that like you have a hard drive that's kind of the same thing, and like every dimension is like the bigger hard drive that has more information in it. We're tapping into that data set of awareness, so we're able to know what God really is. Like fifth dimensional awareness, sixth dimensional awareness, we get more and more insight. But the more we elevate in consciousness, the more in dimensions we increase in, the more we really know what God really is. And so right now we feel like we know, but it's just the beginning phases of us starting to question. But the paradox is everything is just frequency, everything is code. We're all God all the time, but the code has been processed in the processor of the universe in a way to reflect a game in which we have to achieve certain levels of awareness to be able to transcend it and realize who we truly are. And the paradox is the only way we can ever do that is by knowing we're that always in the first place. So that's the healing thing that's going on right now, you know? So it's like, and the one other thing I'll just share about the stillness, you know, I'd love to bring the science in, is what is stillness? Well, you could say, when we say oneness in conscious space and metaphysics, we're talking about like the oneness, the stillness. So what's the parallel word version in quantum physics? Singularity. So the singularity is that stillness. Well, where's the singularity? Well, it's inside the black hole. And what are we made out of? Subatomic particles that all have singularities. So what we're doing scientifically is we're getting to a place of stillness where we then go within the black holes and the wormholes within us, permeating into the code of the creation and shifting the code of creation. And as we release our traumas, as we like start evolving in consciousness, we then start giving that out to our galactic family and galactic community. And so now that is what our role in the galactic community is we are in essence beacons of I like to jokingly say Earth is one big mental hospital processing the trauma of the galaxy. And I jokingly say that, you know, because there's also supposed to be a fun ride. And so as we're doing that, that frequency then permeates and we give that to the universe. So which is why I think we're the biggest light show in the universe, which is why so many beings have an invested interest in us. They know that what we're doing on Earth is really, even though we don't know it consciously, most of us, is really important work for the whole of the galaxy to live in peace.
Hear, hear.
Yes.
Bravo, Neil. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Neil. I just want to quickly add on to that very quickly. We've talked about this a lot when we were in Colombia, where it's like our souls, you know, Dolores Cannon talks about those waves of volunteers, right? And I feel us as souls, as consciousness, this is something I like to tell myself when I'm having a hard day, and we are hard on ourselves a lot in this chaotic reality. And, you know, think about this, like our souls are such expert level players of this game called life, called the human being, that we decided to come into this crazy reality, forget everything we knew, and stack the odds as high as possible against ourselves with traumas, limiting beliefs, but also with the reality and the society we're born into and the control systems and every possible thing you can think of. The fact that we decided to incarnate into a reality with that much stacked against us shows you what expert level we're playing this game at. We are expert soul people, things, entities playing this game called the human experience. And we're crushing it, guys and gals. Like, we're crushing it. We're doing a great job. So don't, you know, worry too much about all these things, because if you're having a hard time, guess what? That's actually a part of it. And that's okay, because as a lot of us have been saying on this talk today, is that in those depths of the struggle that we're going through in this life, that's where the power and that's where your greatest skills and your greatest talents lie. So it's all part of this beautiful game. And if we can shift into that awareness of gamifying life versus being a victim of it, that perspective shift is going to be massive for us moving into 2026, the year of the one.
Yeah, I agree so much with what you said. And so to take what Neil was saying, you know, inherent in the stillness, is the gift of hearing oneself, knowing oneself. And I think that's essential. And in the gift of what you're talking about, Chris, the gamifying and the being able to write out the difficult times and that we're crushing it, I agree. I also think inherent in a really difficult time doesn't feel like that while it's going on, but inherent in it is this really, there's some kind of amazing treasure. And I know personally, I got through our 9 snake year almost unscathed. It was a really wonderful year for me. And then just recently, towards the end of the year, I've had a few major things really uncomfortable pop for me. And here I am, I teach this shamanically, galactically, but it's so hilarious as a teacher, as a healer, then to also go through your own version of that experience. And one of the treasures that came up for me was creativity, because in an instant where something feels untenable, like limited, how am I going to get out of this? How do I navigate this? This just feels so uncomfortable and permeating. Where's the end? And it became clear to me in a gamifying way, creativity is your resource. How do you find what you're beautiful at? How do you find the way that you can do something in a way you've never done it before? So if the universe is saying, this has now ended, my love, this way of doing this is no longer here for you, there's something else amongst your plethora, your buffet of gifts that I'm asking you to draw upon, instead of looking behind at what was and how you did, and now to find the way you will. And for me, I really had to dig deep and look at gifts and connections and ways of being. And I also had a laugh at that reference point, because I thought, oh my God, I've been here before. And I looked at way back when I was here in a similar place. And I also felt like, how am I going to get out of this? And again, I used creativity, and it became who I was for a considerable period of time, until recently, once again, when the universe said, we love you too much to let you keep doing that. We see you way too grand to allow that to continue to be the story. Your story is so much bigger. Your next chapters are so much grander. Talk about surrendering, and talk about stepping in, and talk about what else is possible. And so that's been a lot of my journey right now, being the author of my story and seeing how I can realign with a whole new frequency of Debbie and of life. And it's really been, and it still continues to be, a magnificent journey. I'm kind of awed by and still navigating. Absolutely, I'm still in it. And so with that, I want to ask you guys about timeline jumping, because I believe part of the story I just shared is about timeline jumping. If any of us stay in something, that choice, the timeline continues. The moment I not just think, but act, do, be, believe, this can happen. What if we had the new world? All the moments we spend considering doing, being, creating something anew, these are timeline jumps. These are reality shifts. So let's talk about that, timeline jumps and reality shifts. What about your experience? How do you specifically consciously choose the highest available timeline? Geraldine, can we start with you?
Yes, thank you. So one of the key things that are happening as we enter into this year one is that there's going to be an acceleration of personal destiny. So in terms of the kind of lives and life paths that we choose are going to be quite specific, and it's going to be a result of rapid spiritual realization, very, very rapid spiritual realization. And anything that is not in alignment, it's going to collapse very quickly, just drop without hesitation, without resistance of any kind. well, you might resist, but the fall is going to be very quick and very clear. And anything that is authentic is essentially accelerating dramatically. But that being said, what we're coming into, that is just a very core foundational preparation for what's going to come after that, which is we are being asked, and this is something that I received very late last year, as a result of communication with a lot of these higher dimensional beings, civilizations, very advanced civilization models, that we are needing to anchor and embody a high level civilization on our planet. And we're teaching ourselves, we're growing, we're a very young human race. So we're maturing into the embodiment of this kind of coming into harmonic order and building a society based on harmonic order, building a society that's based on natural law and the laws of the universe. And so how do we know what is truly in alignment is that we always are making things in alignment with the highest order, with that natural order. And those laws of the universe, they're foundational laws of creation. And this is essentially the core. If our core foundation is unity consciousness, we become unified within ourselves and with all parts of ourselves first, right? Because you can't claim to be unified with things if you're separate within yourself. If you have splits within your ideas and concepts and you're still fighting with your own aspects of yourself, even your ego, your fears, whatever it is, those are aspects that must be repaired. And this next year will kind of gently force us to do that, because literally that output is a vibrational emanation. It's a restructuring of your body in the biogeometry of how you're vibrating, how you're moving. It literally will align into that next octave. So timelines and the selection of timelines are very much aligning your intention with integrity, and that your actions are completely in integrity with those laws, those higher laws. That is unity consciousness, to be able to recognize the laws of the universe as your core foundational ethical resource of information and where you pull from. And then that application is what will change yourself. It'll change the world, and it changes perceptions very quickly into the activation of higher bands of understanding, intuition, the activation of our higher capacities. So all of that is available to us, but it's recognizing the laws of the universe in everything, in yourself, in your interactions, in the way you handle money, in the way that you handle relationships, in the way that you create. This is really how we are learning now as a new civilization to create timelines that are holistic. So we don't damage anyone, or we don't cause harm to anything. Everything is in harmony, and we share that harmonic co-creation with responsibility, basically. So this is kind of what I'm kind of tuning into.
I love that. And I love that you add that piece of integrity and alignment to it. I agree. It's so, so important. And the idea that we are doing this is happening. There is a new human, a new earth, a new co-creation that's going on. And what about the rest of you? What is that for you? These timeline jumps, these reality shifts. How do you, or how can the folks out there who are joining us today consciously choose the highest available timeline? Nan, welcome. It's so great to have you. Do you want to weigh in on this question?
In ceremonies and left their paintings on the ceilings and everything with shaman all day. So I think timeline shifting is not a new thing. I think that we've all been doing it for a long time. And the Maya believed that everything is a spiral. Time is a spiral. And when you start to realize you can go backward, you can go forwards, you can step to the left, to the right. Even when one of the most fascinating things about the ancient Maya is that they lived knowing they were divine and human from birth. And they also knew that they had parallel selves that walked alongside them. And so they would walk with those selves in a conscious way, knowing that that was part. And then sometimes they would shift into other realities. So I think the opportunity right now for all of us is to unplug, stop thinking what everybody else is thinking, stop living everybody else's life, right?
Mm.
And start to say, what is it I want? Because it's already here. You came here with a divine mission, and we were seriously told, if you live your mission, we'll take care of everything else. You can living. A dream isn't just like so. And you can. So yeah, I've been trying to get online for an hour since I got to the hotel. Finally came to the restaurant and gave up, and here you are. So hopefully you can hear me. But
thanks, Nan. Thank you
did
so
you guys
much
hear
and
that?
welcome.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here. It really is. And thanks for bringing the shaman perspective to this. How about you, Joan? What about timeline jumping reality shifts? What do you recommend for folks to consciously choose the highest available timeline, the highest possible reality?
Well, it's about having a vision and really accessing your soul blueprint so you actually have an understanding that you're here for a higher purpose. There's two choices. As I said, I think before, when we wake up in the morning, we start our day, we can go to the left or the right. And depending on whether or not we're aligning with our higher self or the visions we have or who we know ourselves to be, or we're on the other side. So when I was a chiropractor, when I was really actively practicing, man, I had all sorts of things for my patients to do, but I didn't do those things myself. All right. And that is right there. There's an inauthenticity because I was teaching them the right way to do it and I wasn't doing it. Sorry to confess that. But that brought my frequency down. So there really is a lot to be said about aligning with the vision, the highest vision you have for yourself and the soul purpose you have. It takes a lot of work to keep raising our vibration, and it takes, 3 bad thoughts to knock you back down again. So being aware of our thoughts, being aware of who we're hanging out with, affecting our vibrational resonance, and what our soul signal is. I've been learning this year, it's really about being in resonance with the people, places, and things around me. Not buying something because it's cheap, the cheaper version of it, but buying the best version of it for myself, doing the highest frequency in everything that I do for myself. So I went to the farmer's market yesterday. First time I bought eggs at the farmer's market. They were a little bit more expensive, but I realized that they didn't have the preservatives from the market. And that's an important value. So looking at values that really uplift your life and holding to them. And that's how I've been managing to really raise my frequency and step into this new earth we're coming into. So being authentically you, saying yes to the intuition and not to the fact that, oh my God, I just want to go out and get drunk tonight. I had a bad day. There's two different opportunities every moment.
Beautiful. Choosing always the highest for ourselves, taking care of self, and even evaluating where we're putting our energy, our values, our finances, and what that's generating and what another choice could generate. And how about you, Shelley? What do you feel is the way that we can create a timeline, very positive, obviously benevolent timeline jump, reality shift? How can we choose our highest available timeline? We can't hear you.
Oh, hang on.
You were so good and unmuted yourself. Nope.
How's
Yes.
that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. I've been playing with this for years because from a very young age, it was very clear to me that I had a really strong reaction to any violence whatsoever. And I stopped watching horror films or any kind of violence whatsoever in middle school. And it wasn't easy on the social scene because, you know, that's what teenagers do. You know, you go on a date and you go to a scary movie because then, you know, the guy puts his arm around you and says it's okay. But the truth is we are such powerful creators, and we also are highly impressionable. And so every single thing that we take in with our eyes becomes the future that we're going to live. And that includes our ability to choose the timelines that we want to be on. And so really don't study what you don't want. If you're watching something or, you know, you're listening, there's so many podcasts now that they're so engaging, but you can tell the difference in a podcast between the ones that have someone who is smiling at you from the thumbnail or someone who says, you know, they didn't want me to tell you this, or, you know, this could be the last time, or this is the end, or if they're going like this, right, then that's fear-based programming, and they're using fear-based programming to get more clicks. And that's true, it works because we're humans and we tend towards the negative. You know that story of if you tell somebody something negative, right, they'll repeat it 50 times, and if you tell somebody something positive, they'll repeat it twice. So it's a tendency that we have, and it takes a lot of effort and discipline to come to be the master of that. And when you become the master of that, what you take in with your eyes, your ears, right? Advertisements, shut them down. Never, ever. You know, if you have to watch TV, and I haven't in 40 years, but if you have to watch TV, when the advertisements come on, at least turn the volume down, because that is some heavy, intense, very intentional programming. And the more that you can just loosen that up, it's like, it's like throwing off cords that are binding you, then you become more free to start to discover who you are. And the more you discover who you are, the more you will naturally move into the timelines that support you in becoming the expression of that. So, you know, eat love for breakfast and take it from there in everything you do. Thank you.
Yummy. That sounds like a delicious breakfast. Thank you so much. And, you know, here to wind it up, Chris, if you could offer one preview of the message or the activation that you are going to be sharing at New Living Expo, the energy you're bringing into it. New Living Expo, April 2026. What is it?
Well, I think one big thing we've all been touching on here in this conversation is authenticity. And one of my favorite ways to really bring all of us into our authentic self, which is typically that version of ourself we were when we were 3 or 4 or 5 years old, you know, before all that intense programming got hit, and we were just, you know, unquestionably being ourselves. And for myself, one of the best ways to get there is through dance. And so one of the things I'll be bringing to the expo is my DJ turntables and little hop, skip, and a jump, and some playfulness, so we can balance out the amazing information that we're going to be experiencing, which we totally will be, in the channelings and the healings. And I mean, the New Living Expo is going to be the spiritual party of parties. Let's just be honest. It's going to be so much fun because the nerdy side of ourselves will be very stimulated. There'll be all these physical solutions and products and things we can nerd out on as well. But what I'm excited to bring is the dance, the music. Of course, we're going to have lots of sound and music, but I'll be bringing our dancing shoes, and of course, getting Mr. Neil of Portal to Ascension to hop on for some freestyles here and there. Maybe guide us on some beautiful journeys, right? It's going to
we'll perform our whole album, I feel.
That too, of course. We got an album to perform, everybody. So yeah, I'll be bringing some music and some dancing. So I think what we sometimes lack at events like this is the play and is the fun and the silliness. So I got you covered there.
Yeah.
Great. I am here for that. Dancing and fun music. And Joan, how about you? What kind of message activation are you going to be sharing at New Living Expo 2026? What do you want?
Wow, that's a lot to ask. Honestly, I think the message that I have usually is really about how to access your own gifts, your own power, your ability to step into that highest version of yourself, and all the steps that it might take to access that, and the codes you might need. So I'll be doing activations, love activations, DNA activations, light activations, getting you so jazzed to be that self that you have always wanted to be. And that is our Starseed highest version, which is where we're all going together. Also, I'll be
Nice.
running around as helping to be the executive producer over there. So I think that I'm just going to also be picking up the vibes from everyone else. And when it's my turn to speak, kind of summarizing it all.
Yeah.
I'm just excited about it. I wish it was tomorrow. I'm so ready.
I need some time. Thank you.
He
Well,
needs
we're
a
not
little
ready
time
yet,
to get to
but,
bed. But that's Joan makes a great point too, because I think one of the exciting things is meeting each other in person. It's just a trip to be in somebody's personal energy, to experience someone. You've seen them on a screen, you've experienced them maybe for years, maybe you followed them, you listened to their interviews, their talks, all of it. But how beautiful to actually connect in person. I'm really all about that. Geraldine, what are you bringing? What's the message or activation you're sharing at this New Living Expo, April 2026?
Yes, it's an honor to be there. I'm going to be discussing the science of multidimensional embodiment, and I'm going to be talking about some of the latest research, both medically and also in advanced medicine structures like energy medicine, that is now going to be coming up to the forefront. But we're going to be talking about the latest research of multidimensional human blueprint in DNA. And essentially the intersection between bioelectrical physiology, we're looking at psychology, the epigenetics of that in the etheric body. What does that look like? Because the era that we're coming into, it's a new era of consciousness in that more is becoming available to the human. And so we need to kind of learn how to integrate those new aspects of ourselves as the human learns to become whole again. And so I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this will be in San Rafael, California. That's like not quite Northern California. It's more like central into Northern California. Absolutely beautiful part of the country. It's on the West Coast. There's a hotel for us. It's right across from the venue. So it's very easy to come and join us. And I know tickets are selling, and apparently very well. So if you feel called, I just want to put it in there. Don't wait. Like, be sure you get the ticket and you get the experience. And Shelley, I think you have an instrument in your hand. What is going to be your beautiful sound message, your frequency activation that you're sharing at New Living Expo?
I do a hybrid. Sound as the language of the universe has become a very important tool in my PowerPoint or my main speaking engagements. But I talk about consciousness and contact and the role of sound in these contact experiences, and how so many experiencers are hearing this common sound, and where those sounds replicate themselves in the sounds that we're making, is particularly with monochords and crystal bowls, not the white frosted ones, but the alchemy ones that go wah, 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 wah. So it's a sound that I've heard from my very early experiences and spent decades trying to replicate. So in the talk, we talk about what it is from the perspective of the experiencer, what the experiences were. And then we do a sound journey from that standpoint of actually using sound to take you into that place, the pineal in the mind, where cosmic consciousness or communion actually happens. And my job as a light worker is to make sure that all of that happens in an absolutely safe and light-filled environment, so that everyone has a really uplifting experience. And a lot of people in this journey tend to discover what their roots are. what their starseed origin is. So I'm really looking forward to it. Anything of Neil's, I'm there.
Yeah, I think we all feel like that. He definitely is a gatherer of people, of amazing minds, amazing talents, amazing contributions, and also of the masses out there. That's quite a mission in this lifetime, and I respect the heck out of it. That's definitely not in my wheelhouse. I show up, I do the things I'm gifted at, but to see the enormity of what Neil can put together. And by the way, because Chris brought it up earlier, and still have fun. I mean, he's a really funny guy to hang out with, and obviously a genius. You can hear him speaking and contributing to this panel. So it's beautiful that there's a platform that we get to do live together. Because remember the years not so long ago, we couldn't even see one another. And if we even try to go to the grocery store, we had to be masked and all the things. But now we get to play together again. And Nan, let's go to you. Give us a preview of the message, the activation you're sharing at New Living Expo, April 2026.
Yes, thank you so much. So it's so interesting. I love to hear all the topics and how everything weaves together, from the dance and the movement and the frequency and the flow and the sound healing and everything, and how we all do that, in our own way. And so I'm bringing together the sacred feminine mysteries, in the sense that the awakening now of the sacred feminine is not just like, oh, let's all, be in touch with our feminine side. It's literally balancing those two, like Neil and I like to talk about, the sacred feminine and the masculine, in a way that we drop in and we start to live. We're not chasing a dream. We're not hoping to get what we want. We're going, oh, yes, here I am. And the beauty of it is we're going to just literally slice through time into a cross section, because the Maya mind is that you were born divine and human. You came through the Pleiades and through Atlantis. All of the temples here are built on the plans of Atlantis, and they come from Lemuria. Now is the time of Lemuria, which is the jaguar, and the serpent, which is Atlantis, coming together. So the new symbol of the sacred masculine and feminine coming together is a half jaguar, half serpent, feathered serpent. And the feathered serpent is that high state of consciousness that you've taken your body. You've shed the old images, the masks of who you thought you were. But this isn't work. This is this, and it's going to take me 10 more years. We're getting rid of delay language. We're stepping completely outside of time. Everything is here. It's already done. It is at your fingertips. And all that's needed for you to receive it is to accept it into that place. And that's where people go chasing, like, oh, I have to figure out how to believe. I have to figure out how to forgive. No, you don't. So I'm going to take you through a deep shamanic experience where everything within you is going to start to vibrate with these other timelines, with you in these other timelines. Because what I'm talking about now is that this is the return of what I call the everyday priestess. That doesn't mean you have to be a woman body. Okay. We are becoming the ones that were trained in the sacred feminine arts. And we cannot go to the next state of consciousness just using our heads and just using our brains and just using our muscles anymore. We know that, and we're all looking and we're all seeking and we're all raising our frequency and we're figuring it out. And this is just what I love about this is let's just take the curtain off and lovingly get guided right directly into the heart of who you are, why you came here to be that. And then, so at my booth, I'm going to be doing Mayan destiny chart readings, as well as prosperity magic readings and activations. So this is a chance to go with everything else happening. To me, this is a vortex. This is like going to the sacred cave I went to today, coming to this expo. It's like, with everybody there, with all the intention, with everything you are all doing, with the vision that Neil had and took over, right? This is carrying us into the future. This is a timeline, and it's a group timeline. So what's beautiful is if you buy your ticket, you're part of the energy. And I can tell you from doing live retreats, the minute you join one of my retreats, even if it doesn't happen for 2 months, your energy is now affecting who aligns for that retreat. So it's just going to be the most amazing place because you can tune into what you want, who you are, and you don't have to come desperate. You can come to play and come in grace. And that's the other thing I want to encourage everybody to do is reject karma. I want you to just wake up and say, you know, that's part of the paradigm and conditioning I was told. And no, I don't have any debt. I live in grace. Everything's already paid for me. And that's something collective consciously we can all do.
Yes. Yes. Get out of lack, right? Nan, my beautiful shamanic sister. I love what you said. And that is such an important reminder. The moment you get your ticket, everything begins. It is true. Stuff starts happening, stuff starts popping, stuff to look at, new opportunities. Yes, 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 to get into the stream of that energy right now. And I also want to acknowledge the beautiful people who have been here with us today. And I'll just read one of the many comments. Thank you guys for commenting so much and being part of this. Where Dark Horse said, really enjoyed these live streams today, filled with such amazing wisdom and energy. And we couldn't do it without you being here. So thank you for being here. And I'm going to end with asking Neil this question. Give us a preview of the message, the activation, your reason for buying. By the way, folks need to know this existed before Neil, right? So this...
For 22 years.
Yeah, exactly. 22 years. And like right along with what Nan just said, releasing the old paradigm, stepping into the new, that's literally what happened here when Kenny said, I'm done. I'm complete. He's an older gentleman. He did his service and he wanted to bow out and sell it to somebody else. And it was actually going to go to somebody else. And then Neil heard, Providence came, and Neil is a young buck. Like he brings this beautiful and very successful energy, this knowingness how to create, pull people together and give a real experience. So that energy is there already, that you have stepped up to the plate in this new incarnation, even of what you are in this new year, this number one horse year. So fire horse, so beautiful. So tell us what to expect, what you're going to be sharing, all of it.
All right. So yeah, there was someone else who was going to purchase this. When I called Ken, he said, yeah, have something on the table. The guy was, you know, it was a feat to really come up with the finances to make this happen and to come up with a 3-year contract, all the business stuff. And this guy was just going to throw money at it and buy it. And he was a marketing person from Chicago that had never been in the consciousness space. And they were about to seal the deal. And but then I spoke to Ken and his wife while they were driving 2 days after the actual expo, because I spoke at the last expo. That's how I found out. And then after a couple hours, his wife jumped on the phone, took it from him and said, I want you to buy this expo because I can tell that you're the one for it. And then they started calling people like Robert Parala, Deborah Giusti, and then everybody was saying that I don't think there's anybody else on the planet besides Neil who should be doing this if you really want this to continue. And that's what I said to him. Like I want this to go on forever. I'm not trying to shelf this thing at all. You know, like when the Whole Life Expo, which was New Living Expo before it became the New Living, was sold, the guy did it 1 year and shelved it. That's why the New Living Expo came back. The New Living Expo came, it started all over again because the Whole Life Expo was canceled by the person who purchased it. And that's the one from 1982, the first ever spiritual expo that ever happened in the US, maybe the world, after the hippie movement. And you know me, I love a good story. I love legacies, and I always like love to be a part of them too. So like I'm like, wow, yes. Not only like the Bay Area is such huge significance, and you know I do a conference every year in California, and my California conferences really, like, to be quite frank, have been financial losses quite drastically for multiple years, and I just kept doing it. Why? The reason why I did it is because I was raised in California since I moved from England. I felt I owed a frequency to California, and I would, no matter what the profit would be, I would still do it just because, like, that's my home. And so I was doing San Diego. That's why I do one in Glastonbury, England, because that's my other home. That's where I was born, right, England. So when I started doing the one there, and I was like, wow, now I have an opportunity to expand to, like, my venue was fitting 300 people. We couldn't fit any more. Now we have one that fits like 8,000 people, and I'm aiming for 3,000. With the energies happening in the world right now, I'm really fully invested in this period all the way to 2030 and beyond. You know, when I first started doing events, I was like in a minivan driving up and down the coast from San Diego to Vancouver and back down, doing sound healings, picking up spiritual nomads on the street in Mount Shasta, having them stay with me for a couple of months, and then helping me with sound healing events, and then dropping them off in a random town. That was like my life for 3 years when I started doing this. And I would get in front of everybody in the beginning because I'd always have different crews, like all the time, and I'll do a pep talk before our channeling events, before our sound healing events, and I'd always say, Portal to Ascension will continue to exist until we no longer have to put the word unconditional in front of the word love anymore. And then at that point, we'll probably be a UFO landing station or something like that. We'll change it. So that was, I'm literally quoting myself right now. Like 2009, 10, 11, that's what I was saying. And I just had this, at one point, 2008, 9, 10, I had no idea how I was going to combine my interest in UFOs with my sound healing stuff, with my ancient history stuff. I did not know. I'm like, how do I create a website? And lo and behold, like 17, 18 years later, it's like everything is just one energy, and we realize it's all connected, you know? So this event has just given us the opportunity to really gather in numbers and to create something extremely, the production level is going to continue to increase. I have a 3-year plan, and is a 3-year business model where not only are we going to shift the name from the New Living, because I jokingly say, when will it stop being new? You know, it's been New Living for 22 years. This time, like, so what will it be? And it will be something else, but we're going to be incorporating a lot of technology. We even have some AI panels and information that's going to be coming about. Combining the worlds. We have a whole biohacking community coming there. We have a whole crypto information coming there, consciousness, UFOs, ETs. All of these things that have been seemingly running independently are going to come together and converge into a mega event. And the collaboration on this level, I spend sometimes one whole day, 13 hours is just on collaborations sometimes. Like we have the Psychedelic Society of San Francisco that pioneered decriminalization of psychedelics in over 100 cities in the US. They liquidated their annual conference and merged it into ours. Okay, like, you know how massive that is? These guys are literally like, I have so much reverence for these guys for what they've done for the psychedelic movement and what they've done for veterans that were getting prescribed all types of drugs and started giving them psychedelic experiences to help them release trauma and PTSD. You know, that's the level of collaboration coming forward, because people see that the only way we're going to have real big shifts is by coming together in these numbers. And speaking of numbers, I did some research a couple of weeks ago on the Guinness World Record of the largest live stream meditation in the world. And I think it was 56,000 people. So in 2027, we're going to, I've already started planning, because I plan like 2 years ahead sometimes. And in 2027, we're going to have, I'm aiming for 100,000 person simultaneous live stream from the expo. Because I did a channeling event with Zazar yesterday, and Zazar said that number as well, that there's something with the number 100,000. When 100,000 people get together to do a collective intention, it's almost like you can like literally just change this water into like a different type of form, you know, if we set our intention to it. So these are the kind of visions that we have for the expo, to grow it into something beautiful and that will permeate the whole planet. And then I'll just want to share us now to close here with the information of the panel. You know, we shared.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I want people to know like how amazing this is, who he's been able to gather. Because I think understanding who is speaking, presenting there, and you may, I hope, recognize many of these names. You've got Lori Ladd, Megan Solar Glow, Vivian Chevet, JJ Brighton, Debbie Solaris, Laura Eisenhower, Billy Carson, Jamie Price, and he just mentioned Zazar, who's channeled through Marilyn Gavicki, the beautiful Geraldina Rusco, all of us here talk about sound. Stephen Halpern is going to be there. He is a freaking amazing OG. Doctors JJ and Desiree Hertak, Sasha Stone. And I could go on and on. This is literally a who's who. Rob Gauthier, Brad Olson. This is so impressive who's showing up. There's tons of channelers, vocalists, presenters, healers.
Yeah.
I know some of these people personally, and they are so gifted and so profound. So also you can come in this 1 year, because we'll be in the 1 year at that point. Bring your stuff too. Get healings, get activations, get readings, get new information, new ways of doing things, new friends, new connections, all of it, new ways of being healthy. Like, come for you, because you heard a lot today that this is about the timeline shifts, the integrity, the ways of honoring self are really important right now. So I wanted to add that piece.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Can I add one little piece? On Friday night, the first night of the expo, having a big meet the speakers, meet the vendors. We want to meet you. We know you want to meet us, and it's going to be party time, right?
Yeah. The whole outdoor area, the expo area, we're going to have tents. We're going to have heat lamps. We're going to have a concert there. It's going to be a huge party. So really excited for it. Now, here's my just closing of the panel, because I'd like to really bring it full circle with the information here. You know, Nan and I, we've started doing an annual Chinese New Year event every February, and we started I think last year, and now we're doing 2 a year. We're doing the end of the sign. We do one for the end of the sign, and we do another one for the next sign. So it's like a 2-day event. So the first one's called the Final Shedding. It's on February 7th, free event, and Geraldine Orozco was a part of the one that we did a year ago from February, which would be the beginning of the snake. And we've had 2 years of reptilian energy, and the reptilian energy, dragon and the snake, really has a lot to do with a lot of underworld awareness, things coming out to the surface. But something that came to me when we were doing this Final Shedding, when we were doing the original snake event, was that what does the snake do, right? The snake sheds its skin. And it's like, so we're shedding our skin, and almost like the traumas, the layers, the gut, yuck, and all this stuff. But what do we realize after we shed the skin? That we were beautiful and intact all along, underneath it all, you know? And so to me, that's what this snake represents. And then the horse, we're galloping off into the sunset. That's my dream for all of us. Now, how does this connect to, we know we talked about authenticity.
On fire. Don't forget, we'll be on fire as we gallop into the sunset.
Exactly.
2 years of fire.
We'll be the same element of the sun. And then how does this connect to the radical authenticity, right? If we're not at a place of radical authenticity, what does that mean? It means being fully yourself, and I would say not projecting your own traumas on others. So part of the shedding is releasing that so that we don't project it on others, because guess what will happen? What will happen right now if a UFO ET came and landed on the White House lawn, spoke to an ET? Well, there'd be a lot of projection going on. Right now, you can see with the government stuff, there's a lot of projection happening. What are they projecting? Though they're a threat. Why? Because we're a threat to each other. And we're projecting that onto them. Oh, if they got this technology, wouldn't they be a threat? Because if we have technology of another country as it, they're a threat to us. So radical authenticity steps into divine neutrality. And divine neutrality gets to a place where we've worked out these inner traumas, we worked out these emotional triggers and this projection energy. And as we work that out, then we're able to rejoin the galactic community from a place of respect and compassion. And that's the thing that we lack. Like, it's so interesting. I said this in the last panel. This is the microcosm of the macrocosm. If we don't have the compassion for ourselves, how are we going to have compassion and empathy for the people that literally are our ancestors from space, that have seeded us, or that we have seeded on some level? So in this post-disclosure world, everything changes, right? Forget just UFOs and ETs. Talk about AI, talk about quantum computing. The educational system is going to change. What would happen, you know, and I'd love to bring it all full circle and connect with what everybody shared. And Shelley was sharing like these addictions that we have kind of to fear and to adrenaline and to anxiety. And guys, I literally, like, for the first 10 years of Portal to Ascension was completely built on anxiety, to be quite honest. I was always told I wasn't good enough. I was always told I wasn't worthy. I was always told that I'll never be anything. even though my parents wanted me to be everything. So what did I do? I completely just kept trying to create and create and create from a place of anxiety that I needed to keep going into the future and building, because I wanted an unforeseen father figure out there to tell me that I was worthy enough, right? So I kept doing all of this stuff, and so much so that I didn't even know what it meant to not to be productive without anxiety. I didn't know what that meant. And I remember after some Vipassana stuff, 10-day meditation, some plant medicine ceremonies, I lost all ability to be productive. Why? Anxiety went. I couldn't perform anymore. I couldn't do things. So Portal Ascension went through dips and turns and twists and all kinds of crap because of that. And us as a collective on Earth have been conditioned to live off that adrenaline, off that fear. Like Shelly said, why do we click through the ones that all fear? Because that's what encourages us, because that's what we were trained ever since we were a child to have. So what would happen in a world where we started training children the opposite? Oh yeah, you can be everything. You can have a relaxed nervous system. You can truly love yourself. You can be at peace with yourself, and yet you can still create, and you can create even more magically. Because even though I thought I was being more productive, I actually was destroying myself, right? And then what would happen is, after a few years of productivity, all of a sudden I would collapse, and then I would have like 6 months to a year of completely losses because it wasn't sustainable. Right? So the educational system is going to change. The economy is going to change. The monetary system is going to change. The healthcare industry is going to change. You know? So it's like all of these is the post-disclosure world that we're looking for. But it all starts with us releasing all the things that have inhibited us from true connection with the self. And as we do that, we can start connecting with others. So that's what I wanted to share as a close here.
Thank you. Yay.
Yeah. So, anyways, in closing, Debbie, I'll hand it back to you. I want to play the trailer as we end. But Debbie, I just want to thank you so much for being such a good friend and for running this panel today, and saying yes, because Debbie is going to also be not only presenting, she's also going to be running a panel, and we're going to have a panel of channelers where people are going to be channeling, like 7 or 8 people channeling. Debbie's going to be running. It's been her dream to do something like that. So really excited to have you, Debbie. And as you already know, but I'm telling everyone else now, if I don't really want to do an event if Debbie isn't there. So I'm really happy that you're going to thank you so much.
That is so beautiful, so kind, so loving. I adore you. And really, it's why I'm here. I really am. This is the conversation. I thank every one of you beautiful panelists, Chris, Joan, Geraldine, Shelley, Nan, and Sasha, who is here before. Thank you so much for bringing your brilliance, for doing what you do right now, for not shining your light inside, but allowing it to come out to all of us. Your wisdom is needed. Your path is needed. You were built perfectly. And I'm so grateful you were born. And I'm so grateful you're doing the big work you are. Thank you for being on this journey. And I can't wait to play with all of you at New Living Expo. And then I extend that out to all these amazing people who have been with us today and will be watching this replay. I can't wait to play with all of you too.
Can't wait to, Debbie. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, guys. Love you all. And I'm going to go ahead and now play the trailer for the New Living Expo and something we haven't mentioned, the Mystery School at Sea, which is in March of next year. If you want to come with us, Debbie will be there, Joan will be there, Geraldine will be there, Chris will be there. So it's the perfect event to play it. We're going to be on 10 days traveling through the Greek islands and having a conference at sea, and just an amazing experience, and ending it in Delphi on the last day too. It's going to be just an amazing experience. So I'm going to play both of those trailers, and then we'll call it.
I just want everyone to know, Neil, that traveling with you is an amazingly unique adventure and very rewarding, because you make yourself available and you're accessible, and it really creates a very intimate atmosphere on board.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Okay, love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll go ahead and play this trailer. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
The world is changing faster than ever before, and within this evolution, a new consciousness is rising. At the New Living Expo, thousands gather to expand consciousness, explore new conscious technologies, ancient wisdom, and the future of human potential. Immerse yourself in 3 days of heart-expanding wisdom and mind-binding awareness, with over 90 speakers sharing tools to awaken your highest potential. 125 exhibitors, 3,000 attendees, awakened souls unite in one powerful weekend of learning, healing, and connection. Experience transformation, connection, and the next chapter of human evolution. It is time for humanity to awaken. Join us at newlivingexpo.com.
Portal to Ascension proudly presents the second annual conference at sea. Step aboard the Celebrity Infinity for Mystery School at Sea, an extraordinary 10-day voyage through the mystical lands of ancient Greece and Turkey, sailing from March 20th to 30th, 2026. Journey through the sacred sites of the ancients, Nafplio, Heraklion, Rhodes, Kavala, Thessaloniki, Ephesus, Athens, and more, where cosmic wisdom, lost civilizations, and divine knowledge converge. Featuring world-renowned authors, researchers, and channelers, guiding you into the deep memory of these sacred lands, unlocking past lives, sacred geometry, and the hidden consciousness of the ages. Immerse yourself in transformative lectures, hands-on workshops, and exclusive special events, each custom-tailored to help you remember that you are an initiate of the Mystery School. This isn't just a cruise, it's a portal to higher awareness, an awakening to the wisdom encoded in your soul. Are you ready to remember?